Hey, I'm Seth, and I'll unbox pretty much anything except for today when I'm talking about the PlayStation 5. So some of you might have just caught my live stream about the PlayStation 5, and if you didn't, you honestly didn't miss too much unless you're into bug snacks. Today's PlayStation reveal was interesting because we got to see the console finally, but for the first hour and a half we just saw games, and to be honest with you, there weren't a lot of games that I was that excited about. As of right now, on June 11th, 2020, right after the reveal video, we do not know the price point of the system or the release date. Which at first I thought was kind of crazy because you just had this hour and a half long presentation about the console and about the games, and you don't tell us when or where we can buy it or how much it's going to cost, but I understand that it's still probably a couple months out, like probably November or December. But before we dive any deeper into the console, let's talk about some of the games that we saw. There were a lot of decent games that were announced, and to be honest, there was a lot of indie style games, at least that's what it seemed like, which was pretty exciting. The standouts for me personally were Gran Turismo, which is kind of a given when you get a new PlayStation console. Hitman looked good. I was excited about the seemingly Dubai themed location that this game has, which I think is kind of cool. There was a new Horizon game which looked really exciting. I never played the original Horizon, but a lot of my friends had it and they played it and they really enjoyed it, so it's definitely something that I would check out, especially if there's not too many other games releasing around launch time of the PS5. And of course we're getting re-releases of a bunch of classic Rockstar games like Grand Theft Auto 5. We're not getting Grand Theft Auto 6 yet, but we are getting a remaster of Grand Theft Auto 5 for the third time on a different console. Sorry, let me rephrase that. For the third time on a different console generation. We've had Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PS3, PS4, and now PS5. I do have to say that the quirkiest game announced today was Bug Snacks, where you're seemingly a bug slash snack. You're a bug made out of snacks, I think is what it is, and you deal with other bugs made out of snacks and they set the town on fire. I don't know what the deal is with this game. It's weird, but it honestly is something that I kind of want to try because of how ridiculous it is. But overall, the first hour and a half of this presentation was not that exciting, and game-wise, I wasn't blown away. And the graphics, while they looked good, they didn't look that much better than PS4 graphics. And I think at this point, you can't really make the graphics that much better. Yes, this new console has ray tracing, so the lighting and the shadows and stuff like that will look great, but I feel like it's something you can't really see until you see the console in person and experience it in person. But getting to the actual hardware itself, it looks like the industrial design team of PlayStation had a field day with this console and all its accessories. I'm blown away by how the console looks and how the accessories look. As an industrial designer, I'm in love with all of it. I think all of it, from the accessories to the console, are incredible. And I know there's people out there who don't like it that much, but I've got to say, it's the best looking console ever. I really think this is the most beautiful console ever released. To be fair though, I have heard some people compare this to the Xbox 360, and I definitely see the comparisons. I understand that, but something about it just looks so futuristic and so modern. It looks more like an art piece than a console, which really makes me like it a lot. So accessory-wise, what was announced today was the new PlayStation camera, which seems to have two lenses and kind of looks like the Xbox Kinect, because I think PlayStation is really trying to push their VR, and you kind of need that sort of spatial awareness for VR. I mean, even just the camera looks so modern and so exciting. I'm just stoked on it. There was also a media remote announced, which looked a lot like a Wiimote because it's white and it looks like a Wiimote. I think any white remote looks like a Wiimote. In addition to that, you had the Pulse 3D headset, which apparently allows you to experience the 3D sound that the PlayStation 5 offers. I'm not totally sold on 3D sound. I don't know how it's going to be really that much different than a regular soundbar or sound system or standard headset. Apparently it's better. Apparently there's something about it that allows the sound to seem like it's coming at you from all sides, which I feel like is true for any over-ear headset, but that is what it is. Of course, there's also the very modern-looking DualSense controller, which has this really cool sort of dual-tone color scheme, which I didn't like at first, but the more that I looked at it and then seeing it up against the console, I think looks pretty nice. It kind of has sort of a Stormtrooper vibe to it. I've also heard people compare it to the Xbox One controller, which I also kind of see, but I feel like it's a really cool modern take on the PlayStation controller, and honestly, I'm into it. The DualSense controller now features haptic feedback, and in addition to that, it also has adaptive triggers, so apparently it's supposed to give you a much more lifelike feel, especially, I'm assuming, when firing weapons. Not only that, but also slightly less important, the light bar is no longer on the front of the controller and is now on the sides of the touchpad, which I guess is cool. It looks the same to me, I don't really care. Overall, I definitely like the way the controller looks. I like that they updated the design of the controller. I felt like that was somewhat necessary for this next generation, and I'm excited to try it. But now, getting to the main event, the PlayStation 5 itself. This console, man, this is a beauty. I love it. I really think the design team knocked it out of the park with this. It's a gorgeous looking console. So PlayStation announced two different versions of the console. You've got the standard version with the disc drive on the bottom right hand side, and then an all digital version which doesn't have the disc drive and looks a lot cleaner. What I love about the shape of this console is how it just flows. It looks like a tulip or like a wave or something just like very natural, and I love that about it. I'm not a huge fan of the way that the disc drive looks. I kind of wish they had incorporated that into the black center part of the console and not just just added a bump on the white side of the console, but it is what it is. I'm sure they did it for a reason. But talk about modern looking consoles. This is it. This one looks sick. And as much as I want to buy the disc version because I have discs and I want to be able to play discs on my console, the all-digital version just looks so much nicer. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't bought too many discs recently. Like, I've just kind of gone with all-digital downloads, so I think I would be fine with the digital version, but I do still have a couple PS4 games that are on discs, and this console should be backwards compatible to at least the PS4, so might have to get the disc version. I don't know. The one question I have about the design of this console is, how do you lay it on its side? It looks like something that can only be propped upright. Like, there don't seem to be any flat sides of this console. They haven't showed us all the sides of the console yet, so it's possible that that right side that they're not seeming to show us is actually flat, so you can lay it down flat, but right now it looks like it can only be propped upright, which is fine. I mean, it's on a stand, so you can probably remove it from the stand and turn it sideways if you need to, but it just doesn't look as natural, I think, or I don't think it will look as natural when it's laying on its side, which is kind of disappointing because I know a lot of people keep their consoles on their sides underneath their TVs. I personally keep mine vertical next to my computer monitor, but you know, to each their own. Actually, come to think of it, the Xbox Series X also will be really hard to lay on its side because it's so thick. Regardless, I'm so stoked on the way this console looks, and I'm so excited to grab one whenever it eventually comes out and for whatever price it eventually is. Pricing wise, the rumor going around is that the console will be around $500 to $700. No one knows for sure yet, which definitely seems steep, but like the PS3 where PlayStation was losing a lot of money whenever they manufactured the first PS3s, I think it's going to be the same way where they're putting more expensive components into the PS5 than they can actually sell it for. It's the same thing that happened to the PS3 originally, and it took Sony about 2 or 3 years to start making money on the PS3, and I really think it's going to be the same thing on the PS5. Once they start making the manufacturing process more efficient and they're able to buy cheaper components, the console will get cheaper, but for now I think the console is going to be expensive, and if you want to buy the console early, you're probably going to have to pay a lot for it. But as of right now, that's pretty much all we know about the PlayStation 5, and I'm sure we'll learn more as PlayStation does more press conferences in the future. In fact, we'll obviously have to learn more because we're going to have to buy the console at some point. But now I would love to know your thoughts on the PlayStation 5 and what you think of the design of the console and whether you're planning to pick it up. So let me know in the comment section down below. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Also make sure to check out my main channel, which is all sneaker related, so if you like sneakers, definitely check that channel out. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.